Silavanta Sutta is a discussion between two Buddha's foremost disciple, Venerable Sariputra and Venerable Mahakutika. First, we have to recite question and answer between the two disciples. Look at your paper. Number 1, can you follow me? Silavanta Uso Sariputra Bhikkhuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Manasigadaba Silavanta Uso Sariputra Bhikkhuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Manasigadaba Silavanta Uso Kutika Bhikkhuna Pinjupada Nekanda Nejado Dokado Rogado Gantado Salado Agado Abadado Prado Balogado Sonyado Anadado Yoni Manasigadaba. We recite together. Silavanta Uso Sariputra Bhikkhuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Manasigadaba Vata Uso Kutika Bhikkhuna Pinjupada Nekanda Nejado Dokado Rogado Gandado Sanlado Agado Avarado Prado Balogado Sonyado Anadado Yoni Manasigadaba. Again. Silavanta Uso Sariputra Bhikkhuna Katame Dhamma Yoni Manasigadaba Silavanta Uso Kutika Bhikkhuna Pinjupada Nekanda Nejado Dokado Rogado Gandado Sanlado Agado Abadado Parado Balogado Sonyado Nadado Yoni Manasigadaba. Translation, follow me. Friends Sariputra, what are the things that a virtuous bhikkhu should carefully attend to? Answer, Frank Kutika, a virtuous bhikkhu should carefully attend to the 5 aggregates subject to clinging as impermanent, as suffering, as a disease, as juma, as death, as misery, as affliction, as alien, as dissolution, as empty, as non-self. And then Venerable Sariputra continue, what are the 5 aggregates of clinging? These upadana kanda are very important because what you are observing in this retreat is only this upadana kanda. 5 aggregates subject to clinging. You are observing continuously the whole retreat, the whole life. So we have to recite number 2. Follow me. Katame pinja seyadidam rupu padane kando vedanu padane kando sinyu padane kando singaru padane kando vinyanu padane kando. Read together. Katame pinja seyadidam rupu parane kando vedanu parane kando sinyu parane kando singaru parane kando vinyanu parane kando. Again. Katame pinja seyadidam kando vedanu parane kando sinyu parane kando singaru parane kando vinyanu parane kando. Translation, follow me. What are the 5 aggregates of clinging? Namely, physical aggregates subject to clinging, feeling aggregates subject to clinging, perception aggregate subject to clinging, mental formation aggregates subject to clinging, consciousness aggregates subject to clinging. Read together. What are the 5 aggregates of clinging? Five aggregates can be found in our own experience. In the experience of seeing, you can find all 5 aggregates. Five aggregates are also present in your experience of hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking. There are many touch sensations in our body, and they can be detected by paying close attention to what is happening at the present moment. Here, a touch includes the feeling of heat, and when you feel cold, that also is a touch. When you are aware of the rising and falling movements of the abdomen, those movements are touches. And if you feel pressure, that also is a touch. In touching something, the 5 aggregates can be experienced in that touch. You already know that earth elements, air elements, fire elements, and water elements are 4 great elements. Mahabhuta. They form the basic of all matters. Now, just by watching what is happening at the present moment, you can develop insight knowledge and penetration into the true nature of mind and matter. For instance, making a bodily movement, you're very careful before moving, you're really mindful, be aware of the intention to move. You want to move, so there is a desire or intention to move. Minute particles of the air elements or wind element material are produced by this intention to move. When there is a desire to move, the mind produces new particles of the air elements that outnumber the old particles which disappear. This increase of the air elements is what we call movement. Actually, new particles arise and old particles gone. There is no movement at all. When you move your hand, it is not the hand that move, but the increase of material properties of the air elements caused by the desire to move. This may be seen through your practice of vipassana meditation. When you make note of the rising and falling of the abdomen, you are actually noting the air elements, because the functions of air elements is movement, which is included in the sense of touch. And the air elements is included in the sense of touch. So when you are aware of the movements of the abdomen, rising and falling, you are experience a kind of touch. In that experience also, you can find the 5 aggregates: meta aggregates, feeling aggregates, perception aggregates, volitional formation aggregates, and consciousness aggregates. Actually, they can be found in every experience, and these 5 aggregates can be clung to by way of strong craving, tanha, and by way of wrong view, ditthi. Tanha and ditthi. That is why they are called aggregates of clinging, aggregates subject to clinging, or aggregates objects of clinging, upadana khanda. You are observing the whole retreat. It is these aggregates of clinging that we have to watch, we have to be mindful of in order to get free from suffering. Even when you are thinking of something, 5 aggregates are present. When you are thinking, you are not seeing with your eyes, you are not hearing with your ears, you are thinking with your mind. When you are thinking, you are seeing something in your mind, and you are hearing something in your mind, and so on. In thinking, a lot of chatting sometimes. object seen or object heard in your mind are called past object. But if they are visible object or if they are audible object, they belong to the meta aggregates, Rupakanda. Consciousness also must have a base from which to arise. If you do not have eye sensitivity, retina, there will be no seeing consciousness. If you have no eardrums, there will be no hearing consciousness. And thinking consciousness also needs a seed or needs a base. That is, heart base, Hariya Vitu, especially the blood in the heart, Abhidhamma mentioned. With every experience of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and thinking, there are always the five aggregates. If we do not watch them, if we do not apply mindfulness to them, we will always cling to them either by strong craving, tanha, and by wrong view, ditthi. And because they are objects that can be clung to, we usually cling to them if we are not mindful. In order not to cling to them, it is clear that we must watch them, we must observe them while they are present. We cannot observe them when they are past. Though we may be able to recall some past experience, it will never appear as vividly as it appears during what is its present moment. So to avoid clinging to these five aggregates, we must watch them when they are evident, when they are obvious, when they are present. Otherwise, we will always cling to them. When there is clinging, what happened? According to Paticcasamuppada, Upadana Pijaya Bhava, when there is clinging, it does not stop there. Just with our clinging, suppose we are attached to something and we want to get it. We want to possess it. Motivated by the desire, we will try to get it, we will try to possess it, we will do something to acquire it. Some people may steal, some people may take it by force from somebody, and some people may even commit murder just to get what they want. So motivated by clinging, Upadana Pijaya Bhava. Paticcasamuppada dependent origination say, motivated by clinging, he take up action, kama bhava. Sometimes what we cling to is unwholesome, and sometimes what we cling to may be wholesome. Whether wholesome or unwholesome, same there are karmas, karma bhava. Since they are karma, they have the potential to give results in the future. we will get the results of those actions in the future. Upadana pijaya bhava, bhava pijaya jati, jati pijaya jara maranam, soka prideva dukkha domana supaya sasambhuvanti, paticca samuppada say, when there is clinging, there is action, kama bhava. When there is action, kama bhava, there is result of that action in the form of jati, rebirth in the future life. With rebirth, there is aging, sickness, death, and so on. So when we have rebirth, when we reborn, we are aging, we will have sickness, and finally we will die. So the duration of our samsara is prolonged if we are not vigilant, if we do not apply mindfulness to what we experience at the present moment. So when seeing objects, see them just as objects that arise and disappear. Watch closely, it disappear or not disappear. Now you hear the sound, hearing. It disappear or not disappear, you watch closely. Understand that they are impermanent, they are transitory, they are temporary, they are suffering, and they have no soul or no self, no controllable. Then you will not cling to them because you see the disappearing. When there is no clinging, there can be no action. When there is no action, there will be no reaction as the result. That is why it is important to apply mindfulness to whatever experience you are having at the present moment. It should now be clear that it is important not to cling to the five aggregates of clinging, not to cling to our mind and matter. In order to avoid clinging to five aggregates of clinging or mind and matter, we must watch them, we must make notes of them, and we must be mindful of them when they are present. Now, Mazi Sayadaw have this question. When are we to make notes of the five aggregates? For what purpose do we have to make notes of the five aggregates? So according to the teaching, Mazi Sayadaw answer, we have to make notes of the five aggregates at the present moment. And for what purpose do we have to make notes of the five aggregates? Not to cling to the five aggregates, not to cling to the mind and matter. For this purpose, we have to make notes of the five aggregates continuously and precisely. When making notes of the five aggregates, we must try to know them as and when they arise, why they are existing. And we speak frequently about the present moment. So actually, the present should be understood as a present duration, not an exact present moment. This is because when you are mindful of objects, most of the things you observe are no longer present. In less time, perhaps, than the blink of an eye, they have already become past. Thinking arises. If you know that thinking gone, already past. Planning, you note it. As soon as you note, it's already gone. So this is because when you are mindful of objects, most of the things you observe are no longer present. They have already become the past. And when you are mindful of anger or depression, when you are making notes of it, the anger is no longer there. Anger has disappeared because anger and mindfulness cannot coexist. Just the fact that your mind is engaged in being mindful of anger means that the anger is not in your mind at the same moment. Anger is already in the past. But because it is so brief a moment of the past, we call it present. When saying, be mindful of the present moment. Very near to the present, but actually it is already past. However, while you are mindful of the rising and falling of the abdomen, there are times when you can actually see the exact present moment. This can happen when you are noting the rising and falling of the abdomen. If you are noting and movements coincide exactly, if your noting is very immediately rising, and then you immediately capture the rising. So noting and movement coincide exactly. But this cannot happen when you are being mindful of your thoughts, thinking, planning, imagining. Because by the time you are mindful of that mental state, thinking, etc., they are already in the past. But in the context of vipassana, we regard them as being present. When we say be mindful of the present, be mindful of be in the present moment. When practicing vipassana meditation, it is essential that you remember to be mindful of the object at the present moment. So you must be mindful in order to avoid attachment to the five aggregates of clinging, upadana khanda, rupupadana khanda, vedanupadana khanda, etc. You don't want to cling to them because clinging leads to karma, clinging leads to action, action leads to reaction, which is suffering, and you want to escape from suffering as soon as possible. In order to avoid suffering, yogi have to watch the present moment. By just paying attention to the object at the present moment, you can get concentration and you can penetrate the true nature of mind and matter, and you can progress from one stage to another. Finally, you reach enlightenment. So just be mindful of the present moment. It is the only way to gain enlightenment, to reach enlightenment. So 5 upadana khanda at the moments of seeing. Look at your paper, page number 2, page number 1. At the moment of seeing, you have to know seeing. Every time you see an object, you have to know seeing. It is to see the 5 aggregates of clinging and to see the mind and matter as they really are, and to remain at the stage of just seeing and not to become attached to them, because as soon as you know seeing, the flash of seeing consciousness arise and the seeing consciousness disappear. So to remain at this stage of just seeing, not to become attached to them, as I see, it is my eyes, the person is permanent, my eye sensitivity is permanent, it is pleasant, it is good, not to cling to this way. You have to know seeing to discover the true nature of phenomena, upadana khanda, at the moments of seeing. So can you follow me? At the moments of seeing, the eye and the object of sight are rupupadana khanda. Feeling pleasant or unpleasant of seeing is vedanupadana khanda. Recognizing or remembering the visible object is sinupadana khanda. Exercising the way to see and turn the attention on the visible object is sankarupadana khanda. Just knowing that an object has been seen is vijnanupadana khanda. Can you read together one more? At the moments of seeing, the eye and objects of sight are rupupadana khanda. So due to your concentration and mindfulness level, you can see, you can distinguish eye sensitivity and sight. They are flashing, and seeing consciousness is flashing. As soon as flash and it disappear, and sometimes you can detach, you can detect the feeling, pleasant or unpleasant. And that kind of seeing is just temporary. And if you capture the true nature of mind and matter, or five aggregates of clinging, you will not cling to them as I see, or this see is permanent, or pleasure, etc. Then at the moments of hearing, you note hearing, a sound wave striking to your eardrums. As soon as striking the eardrums, it disappears. And now you are hearing the sound never lasting forever. As soon as it's waving, it disappears. And hearing consciousness also disappears. Sometimes pleasant or unpleasant feeling of hearing disappear. If your concentration getting strengthened, you can distinguish these five aggregates of clinging or mind and matter clearly. So number 4, at the moments of hearing, can you follow me? At the moments of hearing, the ear and the sound are Rupupadanekanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of hearing is Vedanupadanekanda. Recognizing or remembering the sound is Sinupadanekanda. Exercising the will to hear the sound and turn the attention towards it is Sinkarupadanekanda. Just knowing that a sound has been heard is Vinyanupadanekanda. So most of the yogi have experienced the despairing experience of sound, but seeing is very advanced level. Many yogi not report, only just a few yogi reported. But hearing is very clear. Many yogis report hearing, and they disappear very clearly. And then smelling. Smelling, at the moments of smelling, you note it, and you can distinguish the phenomena part by part, the wave of the smell coming and going, and you just note smelling, and you just to see the true nature of the kinds of smelling, and to remain at the stage of just smelling, not to become attached to them as I smell, this smell is permanent, this smell is good, etc. In this way, not to cling to them in this way, you have to know smelling, and you can distinguish, you can perceive the five aggregates subject to clinging as they really are. So follow me, number 5. At the moments of smelling, the nose and smell are Rupupadanekanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of smelling is Vedanupadanekanda. Recognizing or remembering the smell is Sinupadanekanda. Exercising the will to smell and turn the attention towards smelling object is Sinkarupadanekanda. Just knowing that a smell has been smelled is Vinyanupadanakanda. That's eating, tasting. Yesterday we already explained it. We read Ramo. Can you follow me? At the moments of eating, the tongue and the taste are Rupupadanakanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling or taste is Vedanupadanakanda. Recognizing or remembering the taste is Sinupadanakanda. Exercising the way to taste and turn the attention towards the object of taste is Sankarupadanakanda. Just knowing that a taste has been tasted is Vijnanupadanakanda. So touching when you sit, when you walk, when you stretch, when you bend, touching are many touching points are there. So you know sitting, standing, walking, lifting, stretching, bending, etc. Many in touching there are very obvious phenomena arises. Upadanakanda, if you do not note, it is I move, I stand, I sit, I stretch, I bend. These are permanent, etc. But now you are watching, rising, falling, sitting, stretching, bending, etc. You know touching every time every object are touched, and you note it, and it is to see the five aggregates of clinging as they really are, and just to remain at the stage of just touching and not to become attached to them as I sit, I stretch, I bend, I walk, it is mine, it is permanent, etc. Not to attach to them. You are mindful all the activities that is under the touching point. So can you follow me? Touching. At the moments of touching, the essential surface and the impact of the touch are Rupupadanakanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling or touch is Vedanupadanakanda. Recognizing or remembering the touch is Sinupadanakanda. Exercising the will and turning the attention to accomplish the acts of touching is Sankarupadanakanda. Just knowing that a contact has been made is Vijnanupadanakanda. And then thinking a lot, whatever thoughts or reflection occurs should be noted. Thinking, planning, imagining. And you can discover the five aggregates of clinging. Thinking disappear very fast. They are so breakable, they are so fragile. So you need to use your mindfulness to hit the object properly. So number 8, can you follow me? The material body form the basic of thinking. At the moments of thinking is Rupupadanakanda. The pleasant or unpleasant feeling of thinking is Vedanupadanakanda. Recognizing or remembering the objects or thoughts is Sinupadanakanda, mental urging and inclination to accomplish the act of thinking, saying, or doing is Sinkarupadanakanda. Just being conscious of thinking is Vinyanupadanakanda. So now you are practicing vipassana meditation. Meditation means observing every phenomena occurring at the six sense doors: eye door, ear door, nose door, tongue door, body door, and mind door. Now you are watching, and all phenomena arise and pass away. They do not last. There's really no I involved. There's no such person exist. You see closely and you can confirm yourself. So these five aggregates of clinging, upadanakanda, or these namarupa, mind and matter, are truth or suffering. And Buddha said in the Dhammacakka Sutta, Jati Bidokha, Jara Bidokha, Marana Bidokha, Soka, Bridewa Dokha, Domana Supayasa Bidokha, etc. Birth is suffering, aging is suffering, death is suffering, sorrow, lamentation, physical pain, mental pain, grief, despair are suffering. Separation from those one like is suffering. Association with those one does not like is suffering. Not to get what one wants is suffering. So these 11 suffering, arise only because there are these five aggregates of clinging, upadanakanda. These suffering arise dependent on these five aggregates. So Buddha said, Sanketena Pinjupadanakanda Dukkha. In short, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. So the five aggregates of clinging, five upadanakanda are the truth of suffering. In the Dhammacakka Sutta, Buddha mentioned. So not to cling to the five aggregates of clinging. Every time you see, you hear, you smell, you taste, you touch, you know, you sit, you stretch, you breathe, and you try to be mindful of every phenomena occurring at the six sense doors. By noting everything, every phenomena, every physical activities, mental activities and sensation, you can see the true nature of these mind and matter or five upadanakanda. So we have to stop our discourse for today. We will continue next day by practicing vipassana meditation by observing every phenomena occurring at the six sense doors, by noting rising, falling, sitting, stretching, bending, seeing, hearing, continuously and meticulously. May all yogis be liberated from all suffering. May all meditators realize the real peace. in the very near future.